You guys say things, you'll be recorded. And any kind of laughing really loud will be on it. Okay, so you're going to have some kind of, you're going to have 5 inches, let's do 6 by 6 square. And you guys are going to be having your, offsetting this by 1 inch. So your stamps are going to be 5 by 5. So let's just say my pattern, I simply want it to be a bunch of circles. Whoa, Q44. And let's just do 4. Doing a 4 by 4 by 1. This is one of the nice features of Rhino 5 is that it previews the array. It's awesome. Let's say that's my stamp. All right. So setting up the toolpath for engraving, if you guys don't already have your RhinoCam browsers open, you should have this tool menu, the drop-down menu for RhinoCam. Machining Operations Browser is the one thing we need to open. And then the second thing is Machining Objects Browser. And it may not open with all the tools in, because I've used this already. So all the tools that we have in the shop are populated in the knowledge base. If you've already loaded the knowledge base, all that information is already in the browser. So you guys all saw this when we were looking through the drawings. What you want to do first is to go into the Tools tab, and it's going to look a little bit different. You click on Load Tool Library. And I got to figure out where mine is. And we need to get you the knowledge base too, so remind me to show you where that is. And you should have an All Tools database. Just open that up. And we didn't bring any in because all 32 were already in my system. But it'll say all 32 were brought in. Then you want to go to knowledge base. We're working in foam. So I'm hovering over these, and you can save the knowledge base or load the knowledge base. You want to load the knowledge base. And looking for foam, much like we did already before. And this looks identical to what we used in drawing, yeah? And so we're engraving yellow foam. We have yellow foam, but the foam is pink now. So it's pink foam. It's just the foam that is used in construction. It's extruded polystyrene is what it is. So once we're here, we don't need the Machining Objects browser. We can close it out. You can double-click this folder. If you double-click where the words are, it's going to give you the option of changing. Whoa, it didn't in that case. It usually gives you the option of changing that text. So just get in the habit of double-clicking on the icons. I could double-click on that folder, and it gives me all these tabs. I find that if I'm going across these tabs and I go up to this second level, it flips those levels. I find it hard to follow just the graphic layout there. This is the same information laid out in a vertical fashion. So we can work from top to bottom. Logically, it makes sense to me that we start by defining what we're going to be milling and work all the way down to setting how deep we're going to cut into the surface. That just logically makes sense to me, but there's more than one way to go about that. You'll probably see that depending who you work with in the shops. So I'm going to do it this way. Just clicking the plus here, opening that folder. First thing is machining features, and as I told most of you at the CNC, these are just the features that we want the CNC to look at, to be concerned with, that it's going to quote-unquote machine, whether it be drawing or cutting or milling. That's all it means. Double-click there. And then we don't use this flat area drive region. I don't think we've ever used it very successfully in the shop, so we tend to never suggest it for anybody. So you'll only be selecting this top button, select drive/containment region. And a containment region could be, as we'll see in 3-axis milling, could be just like a circle, and you say machine only do 3-axis milling in that circle. So it won't see anything beyond it. It's like blinkers on a horse. It also means the line that you want it to engrave on. So it's containing its view just to what you're selecting. Okay, click there, and it tells us, why did that go away? Is it over here? No, it looks a little different there. Double clicking. No, it looks a little different. Okay, so I'm going to select the objects that I want to mill out, and I'm hitting enter, or I think you can also right click on the mouse. And then what we did was we selected 16 regions, which is true. It's a 4 times 4, so it looks like that's good. And I want to save that information. And then now we do need to change the bit. In the knowledge base, we have the standard settings already pre-populated. We're going to use an 1/8 inch ball mill today in pink foam. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to look for an 1/8 inch ball mill, and we'll be here somewhere. 1/8 inch ball mill right there, and I click save. So we've told it what to mill it with, and then we could change the feeds and speeds and the clearance geometry, but we're going to leave them the same. So the feeds and speeds is just going to cut as fast as it can. It does that for all. The foam is not going to be more dense, or nothing's going to impede the cutting in any strange way here. Oh, where's this going? There we go. Okay, so if you do open this up, however, you'll see that this is pretty much maxed out, 200 inches per minute. I want to say that the machine goes up to 300 inches per minute, but it starts to shake around a little bit, especially if the geometries are really small and the whole thing starts to vibrate. So 200 is probably as fast as we ever want to run it. You're never going to have to change these numbers yourselves. We're going to help you out with that if that is the case, that your particular project might demand that kind of look. Clearance geometry, this is just where we define how the tool transfers above your material. And this is just set at, if you define your stock, which we'll do in just a second, it's just going to go 1/2 inch above that stock. And since we're starting with a flat plane and we're cutting into it, it's just always 1/2 inch above. It's never going to hit anything. This could be set to 0.1 inch. It's still not going to hit anything. But if you had a little bit of bow in your plastic, if you were milling into plastic, it could be bowing up 0.1 inch, and you could just drag across it a little bit. So it doesn't save you much time to just be a little bit conservative. So we have it here at 0.5 inches. Parameters, I'm not going to talk about anything here right now except for the depth of cut. And I think we might as well just keep this at 1/8 of an inch. I think that's fine. It's going to come up as 1/8 of an inch. Just double check it, and let's hit generate. And the toolpath is set up, so we might as well just take a quick look at it and confirm that everything looks right. So from the top, what we should see are these red transfer lines, and then what the colors are here is there's an orange and a yellow color superimposed. Yellow is your geometry and orange is the cut path. So if you're actually trying to cut something out, you might actually have your cut geometry and the cut path slightly outside of it if you're cutting on the outside of that line, which we'll see in 2.5 axis cuts. So anyhow, there are 2 colors there. Take my word for it. It'll separate later on different types of cuts. The other thing to look at here is just that. Making sure that all of your features are being cut. And the other way to look at this is in the front or the right perspective. You just want to make sure that the cut depth matches what your expectations are. So in my viewport, each square is 1/4 inch, which means each 4 squares is 1 inch. And if I look here, it's 1/2 of 1/4 inch is 1/8 of an inch. Visually it confirms. All right? And then I usually do one last check here and just kind of wiggle around a little bit to make sure everything looks normal and right. So nothing looks abnormal. And once you're here, you right click on the folder and you post this information, which I can't do in demo mode. I don't have RhinoCam officially. All right? Let's see if I can turn this off now. Which I can't.